I'm very privileged today to introduce to you Alex Coker. He has so many events and positions listed on his bio that I can't possibly repeat them all here. You'll perhaps remember him as the co-host survival guru for the TV show Remote Survival on the National Geographic Channel. He's appeared on numerous other TV shows, big budget films, and commercials. He served time in the President's Honor Guard, completed airborne school, air assault school, special forces, and was employed by the CIA. His accomplishments are numerous and legendary. I hope you'll go to Authority Magazine and read the full article that was recently published there called 5 Effective Strategies for Mental Well-Being by Alex Coker. In all the military and other life-threatening positions you've held, you must have experienced extreme anxiety at times. How do you cope with it?
Yes, ma'am. Just want to do two little slight corrections with you, Nancy. Number one, I went through the Special Forces Assessment Selection. Passed that selection, was selected to be an 18 Bravo Special Forces Weapons Sergeant. I broke my right inner tibia in the beginning of the patrol phase, and so I never got my Special Forces long tab. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. I don't want to misconstrue the audience there. And as far as my name, just spell Coke and put it on the end of it. Alex Coker.
Alex Coker. And how do you cope with anxiety when it comes up for you?
Well, being a skydive tandem instructor, I deal with anxiety and adrenaline, and scare at times a lot. And I'm dealing with passengers that are also scared to death, and it's my job to keep them cool, calm, and collective, and to let them know they're in good hands and they're going to have a great time, even though they are chancing life and death. But believe it or not, skydiving, you're actually safer jumping out of a plane than you are driving in a car, because in the United States, 40,000 plus people get killed every year driving in cars, not so much in skydiving.
I don't recall hearing very many people killed in skydiving.
No, ma'am. Very few.
I love how you so eloquently express your trust in God. I'm going to quote a quote that you quoted from Abraham Lincoln that I'd never heard before. He once said, "I can see how it might be possible for a man to look down upon the earth and be an atheist, but I cannot conceive of how a man could look up into the heavens and say there is no God."
That's
How
right.
did how does your faith support you in extreme circumstances?
Again, looking at my background, I've done a lot of risk-taking adventures throughout my life, and there's been a few times where I've knocked on God's door very close, and He's still got me here for a reason. But we're the secret is, no one gives off this earth alive. We're all gonna meet our maker one day, no matter what it is you believe in, whether it's God or Allah or Buddha, whoever it is that you believe is a higher being. No one truly knows on earth what is beyond this life. But I have the great honor of now living out the DZ, the drop zone, and it's away from anything that's any type of cities, any type of light pollution. So it's very dark. So at night, when it's not cloudy, you can see all the stars in the sky. Those are just the stars that we can see with our naked eye. And just to know that there's so many more stars out there we cannot even imagine with our, with telescopes. And to know that there has got to be something bigger out there that's bigger than us, that's waiting on the other side of what happens after our life. And as we know, as we get older, we look back and realize that life snaps. It's gone before you know it, and you got to look back and say, okay, what's next? And you have to have some trust in a higher being. It can't. I mean, I'm definitely my own hero. I believe in myself and trying to make myself my own hero. But at the same time, like I said, on these high altitude jumps, we have a communication system where it's just me and that person, and we got the oxygen mask, and we have communication where we can talk to each other. And on regular skydives, I mean, they're risky, but they're not dangerous. On the high altitude jumps, where we're going up, to extreme altitudes, where it's like a negative 74 degrees Fahrenheit up there, and we're falling toward the ground for almost 3 minutes. That's extreme. So I do have a prayer with that person, no matter what they believe in, that whatever their higher being is, I want to get close to God, because if it's our time to meet Him, I want both of us to be ready.
You said you believe that God must have you here for a purpose because there have been so many times when you could have been gone.
Yes,
What do
ma'am.
you see as your purpose?
Well, there's actually a girl here at the Drop Zone. Her name's Tiffany Lemons, and she's constantly saying ELE. Just like the movie. I forgot the name of the basketball movie with Will Ferrell. Talking about ELE. Everybody love everybody, and if we had more love around the world, this world would be a little bit safer and a calmer place. But in this day and time, things have not gotten better; they've gotten worse. And you know, I definitely believe in giving respect, and hopefully we get that same respect back in return. But sometimes there does come a time where you do need to, put your foot down. And going back to religious, points, Jesus, was a kind of gentle person, but at the same time, was known to flip some tables. So there's a time to be not be nice, but to use exhaust all means possible before you have to take that step. And like I said, going back to religious and the Bible, it states, there's a time for peace and there's a time for war. There's a time to kill and a time to heal, and a time, uh, for different seasons of different things. But we always try the nice part first.
I absolutely agree with you that the world would be such an easier, nicer place if we all were able to give respect
That's right.
and share our love with each other. What are
Yes,
your
ma'am.
go-to strategies that you use to rebalance yourself when you are stressed?
Um, with myself, when I'm extremely stressed, no matter if it's with skydiving or just some type of event that's got me really stressed out, and I have the time to do a technique. It's a they talk about different types of athletic breathing techniques, but this particular one requires more in-depth breathing, where what you're doing is you suck in air for a total of 10 seconds. And when you're sucking in air, even though your lungs are completely filled, I want you to continue to breathe in that air, even though your lungs are overfilled. Continue to try to breathe it in. Keep sucking and sucking in for 10 seconds. Once you hit 10 seconds, hold it. Hold it for 10 seconds, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Once you get to 10, I want you to push all that air out of your lungs. Even if there's no more air in your lungs, I want you to continue to push that air out of your lungs to completely squeeze it out for a total of 10 seconds. And then go back through the process again. Suck in 10, hold 10, and push out 10. If you do that for approximately 3 to 5 cycles, you will find yourself cool, calm, and relaxed. Don't do it over 5 times, or you might find yourself passed out on the ground because it will have you so relaxed and calm.
Okay. I actually tried to do that earlier
Yeah.
today. Pretty hard to do.
Yes, ma'am. It's not easy, but I tell you, while you're doing that, you will find yourself very calm and relaxed, but because you're trying to focus on that, and everything else that's in your mind that's bothering you goes away.
I believe you. You mentioned
Yep.
hobbies as a great stress relievers. What are your hobbies?
Well, apparently, it's jumping out of airplanes.
I,
My hobby is my job, and my job is my hobby. And I found a way to make money doing it. And somebody once said, if you do a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And at one point in time, again, I did 10 years in the Army. I did some time working for the government, and also did over 2 decades in law enforcement. And at one point, law enforcement was, I lived to do that. I wanted to help people, and I wanted to protect people, and I lived it, breathed it, and ate it. Everything I did revolved around law enforcement, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But there also comes a time to where you can actually have too much good of something, and it can be overwhelming. Kind of like if you were to eat chocolate cake every day, and you don't have a break from it. Over time, you will find out you don't like chocolate cake no more.
yeah. So when you had enough of law enforcement, you moved on to something else.
Yes, ma'am. I had to have something to keep me, going. Someone throwing hand grenades at me, or or shooting at me. In this case, it's pushing the limits, jumping out of an airplane and taking somebody with me.
One of your priorities seems to be, I picked up from the article, constantly learning, either from reading books or from researching on the internet. Uh, what is it that drives your need to keep learning?
You don't want your brain to get cobwebbed up. You got to keep climbing and finding a new mountain to climb. And once you conquer that mountain, it's time to find a new challenge, no matter what it may be, whether it's trying to find some fitness goals, or trying to find a new skill set and be the very best you can at it. You need something to keep you busy and to keep that mind occupied. Going back, I used to be a sniper in the military and also was a police sniper at one point, and I relate that very close to golf. Or I don't play golf, but or I guess putt would per se, because I'm trying to put the same bullet in the same hole over and over, and it requires a lot of extreme focus and determination, and you cannot have anything else in your mind but that task at hand. That goes back to skydiving as well, is you have to be focused on that one task at hand. You can't be thinking about anything else. And at drop zones all across the United States and over and around the world, yeah, drop zones are happy places. There's nothing but fun and smiles from people because of the joy and exhilaration they have from what the accomplishment they just did. And for most people, that's the most extreme and exciting thing they'll ever do in their entire life. And I get to share that with them.
You mentioned golf, but I can't even imagine you do anything as tame and slow as golf.
When I was with my SWAT team a long, long time ago, we got dressed up and we're acting a little crazy, and we were, you know, crashing golf carts and everything else, doing everything but playing golf.
Can you look back on your childhood? What seeds were planted in your childhood that matured into your adventure loving self? It's like you have an insatiable desire for more adventure.
I grew up as a kid wanting to be in the military. I don't know. My mom worked at the post office on the naval base in Millington a long time ago when I was young, and there was a Marine there. I was in the Army, but there was a Marine there, and he had his dress blues on, and I was starstruck. I was like, man, that's what I want to be when I grow up. I ended up getting join the Army, but I was inspired by that, impressed. And I later was in Civil Air Patrol, United States Air Force Auxiliary. It's an excellent program for kids ages 12 to 18 years of age, and they can actually learn how to fly, get their solo pilot's license, teaches about the military, how to march and survival and such. That had a great impact. And also, I was in junior RTC in high school. It's another excellent program that helped push me to where I ended up becoming today. And then that's why I was so inspired to help other kids as an adult with the Police Explorer program. I basically turned it into like a junior RTC type program and taught kids how to be future law enforcement officers, but also pushed the military, because you got to be at least 21 years of age to be a cop. So I was from 18 to 21. Hey, you need to get your butt out, go serve your country for a few years, and one of the branches of the military, and come back, and law enforcement be waiting on you because it's a paramilitary type program.
Would you call yourself fearless?
For the most part, I mean, I'm not going to tell any stories. I mean, there's times where I get very apprehensive, to where some things can be risky, and I know they're risky, but take some deep breaths and just go for it. And again, I say those prayers, to God, that if it's my time, that that one, He helps me to react if I have like a malfunction or emergency, to react quickly to it, and if not, if that's my day to meet Him, which I will one day, sooner or later we all will. That my heart's in the right place, and that I'm on His doorstep, ready to go and be one of His future soldiers.
I love the way you're living your life according to your own dreams and desires, and wherever your sense of adventure leads you, but also from a place of very deep faith that allows you to manage all this adventure with great equanimity.
Yes,
It's very, very inspiring. Alex Coker can be reached on almost any social media site. You can read his full article on Authority Magazine, again, titled 5 Strategies for Overcoming Anxiety. I want you to know that my grandson's estimation of me has risen considerably since he learned I was interviewing you.
Awesome.
So thank you for that. And thank you so much for joining me here today for a few minutes.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Nancy.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.